I went to AA for a little while because I couldn't stop drinking. I think that's one of the things that's formed the way that my business has gone, is because I had to protect that. Because without that, I wouldn't have anything. You don't learn how to process any emotions. If you're happy, hey, let's have a drink. If you're sad, it's, let's have a drink. People telling you to stop drinking ain't going to help. You've got to want to do that yourself. There's two ways to be wealthy. And one of them is to acquire more, and the other one is to want less. I have two 2008 cars that stand me at less than $2,000. Fantastic. I see the next 5 for 40 grand, and I think that 40 grand in the S&P 500 in the next 5 years will double. And that's the opportunity cost of that money, because then you're buying your time back. You know, I've been able to be at home for my kids when they were little, walk them to school every day. The strategy basically now is keep it small, keep it all. Any excess profits I funnel into the stock market, and in another few years I'll be like, see you later, I'm off. That's the plan anyway. That's the plan.
Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 47 of DealerPod, the podcast where we talk to motor trade industry experts nationwide to find out about their businesses and gain any insights that they may have to help you with your car sales operation. My name's Stephen Douglas, and as always I'm joined by Scott Sibley and Martin Carr, and today's podcast is sponsored by Dealerway, the UK's fastest growing platform for motor dealers to trade cars with other like-minded dealers. Now, before we jump into the episode, I'd really appreciate it, as always, if you could just hit the like button and subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell as well to make sure that you never miss an episode. And it helps us greatly keep putting the podcast out week after week. All right, so now, before we introduce this week's guest, I think we're going to have a quite a vocal this week's in the motor trade. So, yeah, we'll go.
This week in the motor trade, brought to you by Autograb.
So, this week in the motor trade, sponsored by our partners at Autograb. I've personally been using Autograb myself over the past few months, and it enables me to buy stock direct from the general public, from private listings that I otherwise probably would have missed in one user interface. And it's honestly a fantastic piece of kit, and I would implore you to check it out. And if you want to know more, make sure that you check out the YouTube description below and click the link through to their site. If you sign up using that link and you mention DealerPod, you get a huge 25% off your first 3-month subscription. All right, so this week in the motor trade. So, lads, what do we have to talk about today? I think the big thing would be this obviously this auto trader deal builder thing. So I don't know who wants to kick it off. Do you want to kick it off, Scott? I believe you were on the webinar this morning that they put out. What was said? What's the crack? What we're thinking?
I was on the webinar. I think there was a lot of people pretty much upset, probably every dealer in the country. Yesterday, I think it was going around in the various groups with different opinions on people cancelling the packages and like a lot of kick-off really. But the webinar that Mark Thornborough was on and Bex and the other lady, I can't remember her name, but they explained everything perfectly and confirmed that they weren't going to be charging people. So I think initially when the emails went out, there was going to be this was a 0.25% charge on a car if it was sold, or whether it was sold or not, you're still going to get this charge. But they confirmed today and cleared up that. So I don't know if that was an overnight decision from them or it was always planned not to charge. I'm not sure.
I actually said that in a text message to Tony, my mate, who's obviously in the motor trade as well, because he was on the webinar and he texted saying, they're not charging this 0.25%. Mm-hmm. And my initial thought was they've seen this reaction that's come out on the Facebook groups and on LinkedIn and what have you, and everyone kicking off. And I think they've made a U-turn last minute. Me says, oh no, we're not charging you. Mm-hmm. I think the plan to charge everyone, I think it's that their intended thing. But I think they want to get everyone comfortable first, don't they?
I agree. It looked like a bit of a U-turn. I mean, auto trade is obviously massive. They make millions. The motor trade's going through tough times, and the job's really hard at the minute. And they're obviously one of the biggest costs to people's business. And timing-wise, for them to, I understand why they introduce products, and I know they're there to make money and answer to the people above and so on. But I think timing-wise, to put that out there, those emails out there where they're going to, I'm not saying screw dealers up or whatever, they think their product's good, and, I just think timing-wise could have been a bit better, but see what happens in April. I think that whether they do the usual price increase or the starting charge for it, then I think ultimately that's probably the end goal, I would have thought.
Do you not just think they're out of touch with dealers?
They shouldn't be, but I do actually think sometimes that, I don't know if it's like in touch with reality sometimes. I mean, there's some people there, I mean, like Mark Thornburn, they're very close to dealers and visits dealers and gets opinions and, does say a lot from the other side. But, there's times, I mean, I commented on, it was something in the car dealer group, somebody had mentioned something and I'd said, well, we would just charge an admin fee. So in all of our adverts, we would just have on, if you choose to put a deposit down through Auto Trader for one of our cars, a 149 admin fee will be charged. Alternatively, you can put a deposit down on our car through our website, which is free. So, and that you would think would be allowable, treating customers fairly and things like that. Because, you can, I think I put on, you can book concert tickets and there's a booking fee, or there's various things what you do where there's a fee. And if you make the consumers aware that there's going to be a fee, well then they just need to crack on with it. But so we thought that would be the way around it, would be to charge it back to the consumer if they want to go down that road with the deposits. And then I think on the webinar it was covered as well, because I think the chat was yesterday that the car's off sale for 21 days.
Crazy.
And it can stay off sale for 21 days if the dealer doesn't speak to the customer and the customer doesn't speak to the dealer. And also the dealer can cancel it at any point. That's what I took from this morning. They can go on the next day and if they just cancel it off if they want. So
yeah, I seen someone mention online that actually what might have been in one of the WhatsApp groups that someone will go out and reserve the car for 99 quid, and then it's up to the customer whether or not they share their telephone number with you. And that the Auto Trader had said, oh well, we can't force them to leave that telephone number. And it's like, well, hold on.
Why bother?
Hold on. You're asking dealers, or sorry, I'll rephrase that. They're not asking dealers. They're telling dealers that this is the way forward. This is the way the platform is going to work from now on. And we're going to take this £99. You're not going to get it, by the way, Scott, or other dealers. Auto Trader is going to keep hold of that £99 for 21 days. Your car is going to be sort of semi-removed from the platform because it's going to say reserved, which is going to put people off. You're not going to have any contact details to get in touch with this customer. Jeez, whose idea was that?
What they said today was, the reserved one that says the car will show as reserved, right? But according to their data, they still get lots of inquiries through their platform on cars what are reserved, which I thought was a bit...
Sounds bollocks.
No chance.
To be fair, when Auto Trader, could you imagine this? If type like now, everyone's saying it's tough and what have you at the moment, and Auto Trader is going, oh bloody hell, we've had loads of dealers cancel. I tell you what we'll do, right, lads, get a chatbot to go and reserve 1,000 cars.
Aye, could do.
Because when that 0.26% charge comes in, they'll still get their money, and you'll not be able to get the customer's telephone number, the customer's email address to verify it. It's effectively a cross between Auto Trader and Car Gurus, where you don't get the customer's details, but you get charged for the lead.
Sorry, go on, man.
I was going to say, I think, because I've been involved in sort of the leasing side of stuff as well, and I've seen behind the scenes in the leasing game. And if you look at like leasing.com, and I wonder if this is where Auto Trader have sort of pulled this sort of inquiry charge from, is on leasing.com. If no matter of the outcome of the deal, you put an advert on leasing.com and you get charged £50 plus VAT for every single inquiry that you receive from that lead. So there might only be 5 cars. You put a really strong offer on, you get 50 leads come through, and it's cost you 50 times 50 to sell 5 cars. So that's I wonder if that's where they're getting this sort of this charge from per lead.
Do you know what it is, right? I actually get the theory behind this deal builder thing, because from a customer experience point of view, in my business, I do a lot of of sort of online optimization in the customer journey on the website, and I'm always looking at different ways I can make the online seamless for the customer. if things that happen after someone submits a finance application and WhatsApp automation around that going out and all the rest of it, making it quite a seamless thing. And I get where they're coming from, why they're building this deal builder to make it easy for the customer. I'm on board with that. I get it. I think it is the way forward. I think it's coming, whether we like it or not, definitely, whether he's like it or not, definitely. But what I don't understand is why charge the customer just £99, which is really non-committal, and they know they can be refunded it. I think dealers would be a lot happier with it if it was forced on you that's the way it was going to go. Well, yeah, fair enough, force it onward, but make it a £500 deposit. That's non-refundable. Do you want to buy this car, reserve this car? Yes, I do. All right, okay, then it's £500. We'll take the car off sale. He has the dealer's details. Please provide us with your contact details, which we'll give to the dealer, and then that's the deal done. And I think that would appease all the dealers, because surely that's a much better process for the customer to know that that's their car. They've committed to buy that car. They don't have this 21-day thing. Oh, I'm going to go and think about it for 21 days. I mean, surely you're going to end up with customers who'll think, right, so I've got 21 days. It's going to cost us £99, but I can reserve the cars. Well, I fancy these 10 cars. So what I'll do is I'll spend £1,000.
Yeah.
And I'll reserve 10 cars at 10 different dealers across, my area. So nobody else can have those cars. And then I've got myself 3 weeks to really think about which one I want. Nobody else can buy them. I'm going to go to all the dealers. I'm going to test drive all the cars. I'm going to waste all the salesman's time. And then in the end, I'll buy the one I want, and then I'll just get refunded for all the other 9.
There was a guy in Yorkshire who did 32 A classes.
Aye.
About a couple of years ago, there was something like 32 A classes he'd done. Took them all offline.
I reserved 50 cars this morning at David James along the road.
He thinks he's busy.
We'll tell David Applegarth that, eh?
Yeah, on the podcast this morning, somebody mentioned that, Stephen, because what they said was if they were a supercar dealer.
Do you mean webinar?
Sorry, the webinar. They said if they're a supercar dealer and they're selling cars for like, I don't know, 200 or 300 grand, is somebody going to put a £99 deposit on it? Which they said there wasn't enough value in it. And I sent the question down what I did. I says, why don't you do up to 3 days if the consumer or the dealer hasn't had chance to speak within 3 days, your deposit's non-refundable. And if that car's been off sale for 3 days, well then the £99 should just go to the dealer, because 3 days is enough. And we changed ours on our website, about maybe 5 years ago, and we changed it to 24 hours refundable deposit. So if you speak to the dealer the next day, and if the deal doesn't go ahead, you get a part exchange, you can't get finance, you get the deposit back. If you don't, it falls out the window. And we found that it got rid of all the messes, putting loads of deposits on, and you just got left with the serious people. But AutoTrade, I think, said today that the conversion's something like 50%.
But it actually says on their website that it's 80%. Well, they were telling dealers that it's 50.
They were saying 50, and then they're like 50, 60-ish. And the two guests who came across very well, who've been using Deal Builder, and the name of the garages was on and so on. And I think one had 4 cars in stock and the other one had 14 cars in stock.
Aye.
So they weren't like massive big dealers, although they were in the motor trade in the trial, but they didn't invite dealers on who've got 300 cars in stock and they've been using it,
But that's the thing though, and nothing against those two dealers. I don't know who they are. Don't know. I never watched it. And I'm sure they're very good dealers, but really they should have been getting on 3 or 4 dealers who were have 100 cars in stock or 200 cars in stock. How it's really going to affect those businesses. Crazy. I think obviously I want to keep talking about this because I think it's really important, but I think we'll introduce this week's guest as well, and we'll get his take on it as well. In today's competitive used car market, staying ahead means finding the right stock at the right price every time. I use AutoGrab to do exactly that. With endless listings and constant market shifts, it's tough to know what's worth chasing, but AutoGrab cuts through the noise. Their platform shows me where the value is, lets me filter for high margin stock, and alerts me when the right cars hit the market. If you want better margins and smarter sourcing, head to autograb.co.uk today. Make sure you mention DealerPod when signing up to get 25% off your first 3-month subscription. This week, we are delighted to welcome the owner of Murfin Motor Company, He's based in Cambridgeshire. I'm delighted to welcome the podcast, Mr. Jon Murfin. Hi, John. How's it going, mate? You okay?
I'm very well, thanks to you.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, I don't use AutoTrader, so this doesn't affect me. So
You're just sitting there going, ah.
He's the one poking the fire.
Yeah.
So what's your take on it then, John?
I did watch the webinar, and as a small dealer myself, I just thought, well, I've got two choices. I can push an elephant up the stairs and try and fight it, or get on board with it and just try and deal with it. And I think the fact that they're not going to charge a percentage fee, which was going around yesterday, is a good thing. They're obviously going to exactly. They're obviously going to put it up next year and all, but that's next year. Let's not worry about that now. I think it has some good. It's like all things. It has some good things about it. It has some bad things about it. I will be if I haven't had any. I mean, I've had it live for a little while. I've had nobody. Everybody just picks the phone up still or emails me normally. So I've had no interaction with it at all. And if I do get one, if I can't get hold of them within the first few hours, I'll just cancel it. But what they did say was interesting is that if somebody reserves a car, they tend not to look at anything else. So you have sort of locked that deal, that customer in to some extent. But like I say, I had a guy last week look at a car with me. He rang me on Monday morning saying, I've reserved this car for a test drive on Saturday. Can I do the same with you? And I was like, no. You can ring me on Saturday, see if it's still available, and we'll have a chat then, But
did they mention anything about, you said there about reserving it? I've lost my train of thought now. I'm thinking that many things about AutoTrader. Did they mention anything about why they thought about not offering a customer a refund, and why they didn't think it was a good idea to take the deposit as a non-refundable deposit, or not?
No, they didn't say that.
It wouldn't fly, would it?
Yeah, they wouldn't.
With who?
I don't think if you said 500, what they're trying to do is take £99, which is a very low resistance amount of money, to try and secure that lead, that deal, whatever. That's what they're, they claimed it cost them money to take the £99. They weren't keeping the money and making money on it. And whatever.
It's confirming that the deal comes from their platform as well, isn't it? So if the deal goes ahead and that's a sale, that's confirming that it is from them. Where the minute, they're trying to get the data or exact data where the deals actually came from, it can be difficult at times.
I think they've also now going to do this like traffic light system for lead, telling us whether or not they're hot or not. They've had an email today from them. This is part of this deal builder stuff as well, that they're going to tell us if that customer they're going to be able to tell us if that's a hot to trot lead or not. It's some sort of traffic light system or something. Again, to be honest, I sort of read it and went, whatever. Okay.
I think for how much they charge, they should be bringing out these products to complement their platform, where they're giving something back to the dealers. So it's like saying, we know you pay us thousands, but we're going to give you this. This is new, and that's new, and that's new, and we're not going to charge any extra because the whole country is just about stocked, and the motor trade's really hard, and we're going to support you, and we're not going to charge anything extra for it, just like it's a little bit of an extra. Do you know what I mean?
Well, is that not what they do in December when they come out and go, here's all the free slots?
Well, they stopped that now.
Sorry, guys, we're going to give you some free slots.
Yeah, uncapped, wasn't it? Yeah, they ran that for a few years and then they stopped that.
Yeah, it's all very interesting, very up in the air. I think it's just so out of touch with. I think they're so out of touch with our customer base. I speak to dealers constantly, all the time, and they all tell us things about AutoTrader that can't be repeated on this platform. And I think dealers are struggling out there. There's a lot of dealers struggling financially, and I think they need some help.
They say Mike Brewer's just pulled the plug as well now.
Yeah, Mike Brewer's just pulled the plug on his Mike Brewer motor site, hasn't he?
Mm-hmm. But it's staff, it's parts, it's margin, it's transport, it's the whole industry. Everything's getting squeezed. So a big
corporation tax going up.
Yeah, a big provider like that who's making millions and millions and millions should look and just go, actually, we'll leave everything as it is this year, and we'll just we'll try and support the dealer, or we might even give them 5 extra slots or something on top of the package just to help dealers out through these tough times. But they I think had they not have maybe changed the tune about the charge, they might have been different today. I don't know.
Thing is, most huge companies who've got a product like that, they innovate all the time. They're always advancing their systems and advancing that product. But they put it in with the price that it is now. They very rarely use those new features and new things to say, oh, well, because we've added this, we're going to charge you more. Because you just lose your customer base, wouldn't you? And they somehow get away with it time and time and time again. Anyways, Jon, I think we'll move on a little bit. So obviously, just want to find out a bit about you, a bit about your past. How your business is today, how you got into the business, how long you've been in the motor trade. I think just take it from the top, really.
Okay. Well, first of all, imposter syndrome, because I've seen you've had like the guys from Motorway CEO and, guys from logistics and all these sort of like high level guys. And then there's me sitting in my underpants at home trying to sell a few cars. So thanks for having me on.
Well, I sit in my underpants every week, even when I was talking to those people. So that's fine.
Yeah, I'm not going to stand up. No. So I've been in it since '95. I started out actually wanted to be a chef when I left school. Went into catering, did a hotel management course.
It's good, same as me.
Did you? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I did all that, yeah.
Worked in it for about 30 minutes and went, this is a ridiculous job.
Same as me.
It's full of nutcases, hard drinking, drugs, and just nutters. So I thought, well, what else?
So then you thought you'd join the motor trade.
Motor trade, exactly. That's exactly it. Yeah. That's right. What else do you do? So it's a natural progression from that. So I did a couple of little sales jobs, door knocking sales jobs, all sorts of things, and then got an interview at a local Suzuki dealership. And I was off to the races, loved it from day one, really. And looking back, I've never had it as good. That year, I bought my first house for £27,000. I was earning 50 grand a year selling cars. Oh. That's the best it's ever been.
What year was that?
So, that was 95, 96. I know.
It's crazy, that, isn't it? Yeah, we are 30 years later, and it's no better than that.
I know. It's mental. So, so I did work for they were a good company in Norwich at the time. This privately owned place. The guy was a bit of a local legend. The guy who owned it. Loads and loads of stories about him. And he was a proper old school motor trader. And when he walked in the showroom, everybody sort of stood by the beds and saluted. He was one of those sort of fellas. He was great. Worked for them for a little while till I can't remember 2000 or something. Ended up got drinking and doing all sorts of stupid things. Got divorced. Ended up at Mercedes in Cambridge. Worked for them for a number of years, sales manager there, and just got fed up with every year. They go, good news, it's time to work a bit harder for a bit less money. I was like,
sounds like a auto trader.
No thanks. yeah, exactly. Just every year they just messed around with it, and I decided I was going to. So there was a few people I didn't realise. We had Stuart Saunders on.
Yes, we did. Yeah,
from Urban Car Company. Very similar story. He would have worked around the corner from me, and I was doing a similar thing. I set up a website called Seller Car Limited, and I was buying cars from the general public and trading them. And I was doing that on the side to start with while I was still at Mercedes. And it was great, to be honest. But I had no business doing that. I knew nothing about websites, computers, Google pay-per-click and all of that, but because there was nobody else doing it, it wasn't that difficult. So did that for a number of years. We Buy Any Car came along, started throwing £1 million at Google advertising, and
so you were doing that way back in the day then?
Yeah,
that would have been a long time ago, because We Buy Any Car came along 20 years ago now.
Yeah, this was 2004, 5, something like that. I was doing that.
Wow. Right.
But it just, I had no business. I had no business doing it, to be honest. But I was, schlepping around the country, buying everything. Basically, all I did was, I had a little website built and a back end, and everything was just the grand behind the book, because everything at that point was about £500 behind the book. So if I can buy it for £500 less than that, trade it, and so that it was, and I was doing a Monday to Friday. It worked pretty well. Then, things happen. We Buy Any Car came along. Lots of other people were doing a similar thing, and it just got too competitive to the pay-per-click. I was spending 40 grand a year on pay-per-click advertising. and I was just getting away from it. I didn't know what I was doing. So, I was honestly, I was drinking very heavily at the time as well, and all went a bit wrong. And, so I had to,
What went wrong? You're not on your own, John.
Yeah, well, I haven't, I've been sober for 20 odd years now, but it's
Have you really?
at the time that it all sort of came to a bit of a head, and I so still was doing that, but then, I was living in a terrace house in Newmarket at the time, so I'd pick up cars and they were still taxed at the time. You buy them off privates through a tax. So I'd wait until everybody went to work and then move all my cars around on the street and park like 6 or 7 cars all down outside my house and everything. And then met somebody else. We bought a house where we've got a little bit of land. I can fit about 12, 15 cars around the house, and changed the name and just started to retail more, really. And that's the strategy basically now, is keep it small, keep it all. The goal is to retail about 120 cars a year, and any excess profits I funnel into the stock market, and that's building up in the background. And then another few years, I'll be like, see you later, and I'm off. That's the plan anyway. That's the plan.
Good plan.
Good.
Speaking of the stock market, it's funny you should mention that, because I've actually just yesterday, I put quite a bit of money in the stock market yesterday, and I've been researching it for a while.
We're crying later.
and I've done everything that, because I've been speaking to ChatGPT about it. Me and ChatGPT are like that, and I've done everything that it said not to do. But I've took a punt. I know, but I've took a punt on one company, and I'm hoping that, and I've got my reasons for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I've got some info. Sorry. Go on, John.
Wolfie.
Wolfie.
The return on your investment in the motor trade is terrible. We all know that the money you put, you're lucky if 2 to 8% maybe you're going to get. You can. When I left Mercedes, I knew what I didn't want to do, and I didn't want to build a big business. When I was a sales manager, I just couldn't be doing with the salesmen and the stupid things they were doing. I was just a bit like, look, you've been doing this job 10 years. Why don't you know how to do that yet? And I don't think that was really for me, that sort of management side of stuff. So I was like, well, I don't want to do that. Honestly, I was trying to protect my sobriety at the time. I didn't want to build a big beast that was going to drive me insane and drive me back to doing all sorts of stupid stuff again. So I just wanted to keep things quite straightforward and simple. And I can leverage other people's work through the stock market, and I don't have to actually manage them. So I can own a little slice of, McDonald's and Coca-Cola and all of the other massive companies in the world, and I figured, look, the guys, the S&P 500, the guys who run the top 500 companies in America are probably better at making money than I am.
Yeah. Makes sense, doesn't it? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's been the sort of goal over the last, few years. And that, that obviously that compounds. And that's, over the last 5 years, it gives an average return of 10, 12, 15%, depending on where you're looking. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm just trying to chunk as much into that as I can.
So would you say the cars are more of a sideline then? Or are the cars feeding that?
No, not at all, because that's a very passive thing. I'm not buying individual companies, to be honest. It's all in big global indices spread across, So
yeah.
But it's realistically only the last 5 or 6 years that I've really massively concentrated on the cars, because I was a stay-at-home dad, my young kids, so my wife was working, and I was still doing the cars, but on a much more part-time basis with being around. I decided that I was going to try and be at home for the kids, when they were little. So
tell us a little bit about the car business then. What does that look like?
So it's simple. I have try and keep sort of 10, 15 cars in stock. It's, it's a constant struggle but even for me, I don't know how people buy 100 cars at a time. I've got no idea. I spend hours and hours and hours, looking mainly through sort of Motorway and CarWow, because that sort of private sale background was where I was from originally. I was sort of like that sort of side of it. But I do have a small amount of space, so they have to be profitable cars. It's to find those little nuggets in amongst the other things is very, very time consuming. But I have a basic Auto Trader package. I have a 7-car package, and I'm able to wrap that round, selling. The idea is to sell 10 to 15 cars a month, probably nearer 10 than 15 as on an average,
I was going to say, if you can do 15 cars a month out of a stock of 7, you're doing really well.
Well, yeah, it's hard work. It's a 7-day, like Les, it's motor trade, isn't it? You're always working. But I mean, I was just looking back. I mean, the last 6 months, I just counted back the last 100 cars, and it was just under £1,500 net per car. That's everything, profit. So
from working from home as well, that's good. That
yeah. So that's
what's the price range, John? What do you sell? What's
5 to 20, but nearly sort of really 5 to sort of 15. I've got a few things higher than, but generally that's the sort of.
And do you specialise in anything in particular, like German cars or just family cars? Or?
I try to stick to German, Japanese. I like a Skoda, and I like a VW and that kind of stuff. I do a lot of Octavias and Passats and stuff like that. They do quite well.
Right.
But everything's out. So the valeter's outsourced, the mechanic's outsourced, the valet, the wheelman comes here, the dent man comes here. All of that's all done.
If you're buying from Carwell Motorway, do you go and collect them yourself, or do you outsource that as well? You go and get,
because
have you got a little transporter? Just get the train, or how do you do it?
I get the train, to be honest. Again, I've tried to run my business to protect my mental health to some extent. So I have one of the best things I ever bought was a little folding bicycle. The train station's 5 miles away. I get on my little folding bike at 6 o'clock in the morning and cycle to so I'm working in a bit of exercise. I'm working in a bit of,
good,
my own physical, I'm listening to stuff. I'm trying to learn stuff. So get on the train and go and get them. To me, I've used a few people to go and get them. It's just a waste of time. And I can earn my wages when I get there every time. If I'm nice to people, and if I turn up and I'm like, oh, right, great, here's the,
I think turning up on a folding bicycle, you're already in there, aren't you, straight away?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not aggressive.
He's great, him.
Yeah. I normally say, I've just been dropped off, because this is just my insurance policy in case it goes wrong. I can get away, But it's again, I'll go out for the day. I'll be on the train. I've done 10 or 15 miles on my little bike. It's good. And I've been doing it a long time, so I'm quite good at sort of having a decent discussion with the customer when I'm there. Look, you've missed that, you've missed this, you've missed the other. The week's wages can come from that, really.
No, definitely, 100%. It often will, won't it?
And do you still have your buying website as well on top of that, as well as buying them from Carwell Motorway?
It just fell off. It wasn't. It would have needed a complete revamp. It was a very old school website, and I mean, it's some of me wishes that I'd have invested in that a bit more and sort of kept on with it and all the rest of it, because but I really didn't know what I was doing. So I wouldn't have kept,
Who does?
When I see these guys from Motorway and they're from Amazon, and I'm like, I had no business being in that business at all.
Yeah. So would you say, I mean, I was going to say, would you say your business is more of a lifestyle business? But I know what it's like being the only one, the master of your own destiny, not having any staff around you, and it's hard. It's very hard work, isn't it? Because you're managing buying, you're managing selling. I'd imagine you're probably cleaning some of the cars as well. You're picking them up and dropping them off, and it's full time and it's flat out.
Yeah, and you're never not at work, and so you're always doing something. But the thing is, the most important. I mean, I'm not interested in having material possessions. I mean, it earns the business pays, it's all right, but I'm not. The most valuable asset to me is time. I can't buy time, so I want to get to a point where I can have more time. And it's a 7-day-a-week job. I'm always open. Everybody rings. Yeah, come down. Yeah, of course you can. Come down. It's difficult, and there's as in all things in life, there's no solutions. There's only trade-offs. So I can't. The fact that when I go on holiday, the business isn't earning any money. Mm-hmm. There's, there's lots of downsides to doing it on your own. Like say, I've got to go out. Like I've got a couple of cars going out in the morning, and I was out there this morning, leathering them off and hoovering them out and doing. But it's kind of what it is. Running around, I've had 2 cars down to the workshop, which is again, use my little bike. It's 4 miles away, so in the back of the car, back again, back, doing a couple of other,
You'll be fit as a fiddle, John.
I was thinking that.
Yeah, well, I do. That's one of the things that when I quit boozing all the time was I'd sort of run and do workouts and stuff, and I get my kids up. You wouldn't believe I get my kids up at 6:30 in the morning to work out with me, to do weight training with me in the morning.
Right.
So,
Really?
yeah.
Wow. I think you could be inspirational to Stephen. I think Stephen might be thinking about getting a Foley bike himself and then off down to Central Station there to get his cars in.
I thoroughly recommend it.
So there's no suspension for that.
I don't think there'll be a Foley bike that is strong enough to keep this frame.
If you got one, it would be like a top of the range one, wouldn't it? It would be like the best of the best.
It would
like
be the best one
grand
because I can't buy nothing unless it's the best. Like I don't.
Yeah,
do
that's
that.
true. You'd probably have electric motor button on there. You just press the button, wouldn't you?
It would be electric, 100%. I wouldn't buy one that one.
It'd be a cheater.
I don't get these
No, that's
people.
no good.
I'm sorry, right? I'm taking it on to cycling here. I don't get these people who go out cycling with an electric bike just to go.
Because
and
you can get further though, can't you?
Yeah, but you're taking the whole reasoning behind why you go on a bike away to get fit.
Yeah.
You still got a pedal though, haven't you?
Not much.
It's more fun. You get a hill. Like during lockdown, I was out on my bike on the countryside, and then there'll be like little old ladies going past on the electric bikes. And I was like,
Loads of times,
Yeah, but I suppose that's what they're for. That it enables those little old ladies to get out and cycle, doesn't it? So enables fatties like me to get on a bike and not be sweating after 2 minutes.
I used to find when I was on my bike, there was a rule: if you passed a cyclist who wasn't like a proper cyclist, a bit like us, you'd normally say morning or give them like the nod like the biker nod like the motorbikes have. But if you pass like the local club and they've got all like the Lycra vests on and the sky tops and things like that, they never even look at you. They never say morning when they pass. They're like a little niche. Yeah, they're funny bunch. Them, you gotta watch them. You're not in one of those clubs, eh, John?
Absolutely not, no.
That's
No. No. There is one in the village where I live as well. There's and I always say, oh God, it's Spandex Sunday. They're all out there,
Yeah,
And you see them and they all meet at the pub and they're shaving their legs and like to reduce the drag. And it's like, maybe mate, you should eat a few less chips first. That would be a good start, He's not worried about that,
Yeah.
A quick message from our sponsors, Dealerway. Attention DealerPod listeners, do you want a better, quicker, more profitable way of trading out of your part exchanges or overage stock? List your cars on Dealerway today and connect with over 2,000 vetted trade buyers actively looking for vehicles. No hidden fees, no hassle. Start your own custom auctions from your desk or the palm of your hand in our game-changing app. Or advertise your stock on quick, easy, buy it now listings to our eager buyers who are waiting to quickly acquire vehicles. What are you waiting for? Join Dealerway today at dealerway.co.uk and streamline your disposals. So, John, with you, I take it you're just on your. I just took that for a given. You're just doing everything on your own. You don't have anyone help you at all. Mookie and your wife. Does your wife help you move cars around or anything like that, or is it all just you?
Not if I can help it. No,
right.
No, I think it's just how I am. To be honest, that I knew that I didn't want to. The thing is, I haven't got time now at my stage of life to recover from my own stupidity. So if I go make there was a, and everything around here, to be honest, is so expensive. There was an old fire station round the corner from me that had an old building that a couple of fire engines went in, that you could put a couple of ramps in, and car parking for probably 50 or 60 cars. It was for sale. It was owned by the council. It was for sale for ages. And I thought, I'll ring them and see, what they want for that. And it's full of asbestos buildings, so it all needs knocking down.
Yeah.
But they want £4,500 a month plus £1,000 in rents, and it's like, so again, when I started in the motor trade, there was no management training. There was no, if you were a good salesman, you were made the sales manager, and that's what happened at the first place.
Yeah, I think that's still what happens.
Exactly. And you went to Mercedes. There wasn't a Mercedes management training plan, or it was just, oh yeah, well, you do it then. And so when I went on my own, didn't have a clue what, you don't have a clue what you're doing. You're not trained really in the motor trade. You've sold a few cars. So, it's a bit different now. And I think the groups and things that are available now are fantastic, these sort of things and, the openness. Whereas when I started, even when I went on my own 20 years ago, if I'd have gone up to another trader and sort of said, I'm having a bit of a problem with this, clear off. It wasn't like it's much more open and.
Yeah, we've spoke about this on the pod quite a few times, can you imagine something like a platform like this being, but even 10 years ago, like dealers coming on and telling other dealers about their businesses, no chance. It's refreshing. I like it. I prefer it now. Like just this morning, reverting back to the Auto Trader news, obviously we mentioned it again a few times on the pod, but myself and Scott are in a WhatsApp group, and I think there's another 20 odd dealers in it from up and down the country who are, a lot of them have got their own YouTube channels or their own podcasts, or they're quite well known in the industry, and they're very vocal people. And that was just popping off this morning, wasn't it, Scott?
Yeah,
Auto Trader this and Auto Trader
and
that.
Yesterday, yeah.
It was just going nuts. But I really enjoy being in that group. I really enjoy going through the suffering with somebody else, knowing that it's not just me. Yeah, and I was thinking about it actually when you with you just being on your own all the time. Does it not get lonely?
Yes, it does. I mean, I've got a couple of guys who I know who do a similar thing, but to be honest, just around here, we've had a couple of big dealers go pop recently, or not big dealers, but used car places just go bang. And to be honest, for me, it's very hard to lose money. So,
right.
Even it's not very good at the moment. I'm still not, I've only really got to sell one or two cars and I'm in profit.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not, ego has been the death of many a car dealer. I think of like, oh, look at that. I want that. And I want this and I want the other. And, they get to that 40, 50 car stage. They've got 3 or 4 people working for them. And they're like, hang on, I'm not making any money.
Yeah. Oh, John, what you were saying before, if you're clearing 1,500 quid net profit in a car and you're doing 7 to 10 a month, mate, and you've got no overheads, you're flying. I think there'll be a lot of 50 car sites, 60 car sites that aren't making that.
Yeah. Well, and I say 50, without getting too, into the, you don't want the customers to see it, but that's everything. I have a little bit of storage, a little bit of land that I rent out around the corner as well to store a few cars. So that's Auto Trader storage. The only thing I don't include in that figure is my yearly insurance, which is less than £1,000 a year.
My yearly insurance just went up. I think it's 11.5 grand now.
Mine's over 40.
Is it 40 grand?
Over 40
is it really?
Grand, yeah.
That's nuts, that, isn't it?
Yeah. So I don't need that much capital to run the business. So, excess profit in the business can be channeled into my pension, so I don't pay corporation tax on that money.
Yeah.
And that can be compounding in the background. Working for me when I'm not working. That's the only way I can leverage anything else is to do that.
God, it's sussed, haven't you?
No, I don't know, because there isn't, everybody does it differently, doesn't it? And I think that's the thing.
So you've got a game plan.
It would be nice to, I sometimes wonder, do I look back at the way, I'm able to work sort of fitness into my day. I'm able to read books that I want to read on the train. I can listen to podcasts, try and learn stuff, try and help myself and, all of this sort of stuff. Is that by design or is that just the way it's worked out? I don't know. But
there'll be a lot of people very envious, John, I think, of your setup and what you do. Less stress and all that, yeah.
I was going to say, you take yourself back 20 years when you were at Mercedes and what have you, and you've openly said, obviously, you had mental health issues then, and you've done the right thing in changing everything to where you're running pretty much as lean as possible, but having a great lifestyle with it. I don't think anyone in the motor trade could ask for any more.
Yeah, I don't know. It makes it's like everything. There's obviously, I haven't got a business that I can leave to anybody. I haven't got a business that, like, Scott, for example, he could sell his business and it's worth a lot of money. I haven't got that. That if I'm not, there isn't a business without me. But then, that's every plumber and every builder that, pretty much that's the way that they run the business. And so it's I was talking to somebody the other day and I said, I sometimes, look back and think, maybe I should have taken the leap when I was, a bit younger and all the rest of it. But I'm definitely not going to do that now. There's as I said, I don't have time to recover from a stupid decision. So I go do something and it takes 5 years. In another 5 years, Don, I don't want to be doing it anymore. I want to be gone.
Where do you want to be gone? What's the plan? Where do you want to be?
Well, this is the problem, is that on the days when I don't have anything to do, I'm useless. So I do like to be busy. So I have to work out what I want to retire to, not from. So I think that you've got to have something you want to do, haven't you? And it's getting to that point, isn't it? Of like, what am I going to do? I don't know. And the still enjoy. To be honest, I get more enjoyment now. I'm just really trying to do the job really properly, like really look after the customers. If there's a problem, I jump on it. I'll do my absolute utmost to help somebody. I make a monthly payment to Ben, for example. We make a monthly payment to a local maternity hospital that helps out my life. So just try and do a few things that I'm able to do and to help and to, and try and be really honest with customers. And just, if they come along and the car's not for them, I'm like, nah, don't buy it. Or talk them out of, if they can get finance cheaper from the bank, I'll tell them, we'll get it from the bank. I get quite a good, I think that comes across because you obviously come across quite honest, and I think that works.
Do you enjoy dealing with customers as well?
Yes, I do actually. I think that I enjoy people one-to-one, but the general public can sod off. I think that's the general. It's like
I know what you mean.
I like that aspect. I like sitting down, talking to them, finding out what they do, what business they're into, how do they, because of, I think the generally I don't get too many comebacks because of the way, if I'm buying privately, when I go to buy it, I take my little machine with me, plug it in, find out what's wrong with it. I've driven it back from where it was. So normally when I get back, I've got a little list of things that might need doing. Mechanic I've been working with him for 20 years. There's quite a good understanding, and that I think that cuts down on comebacks and stuff. I mean, I've only bought back a couple of cars ever.
That's good.
And I think doing it because you haven't got clearly a ramp in the garden, people don't I think maybe that puts off people just coming back for nonsense, a bulb's gone and that kind of stuff. They sort of,
don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so.
Don't know. Do you ever get any repeat customers then?
Not a lot. I don't. There's a few, but I think when you've only got a handful of cars in stock, then the chance of you having what they want again.
You're not doing a high volume.
Yeah.
We've got repeat, and we used to sell them from the home because I used to sell them from the house for a few years. And when we set up the garage, there'll be people come to the garage and saying, they would say, yeah, I remember coming to your house and bought a car from your house. Yeah. So that was like a repeat where you wouldn't expect.
Yeah.
Didn't you have about 80 cars at your house?
80. I think my max is about 8 or 9 on the drive.
What about, remember that Angus Mackinnon that came on? He had 90 cars at his house.
90, on the farm.
He very similar job to what you do, John, but obviously a little bit of a bigger scale. We working from home selling cars, but he had 90.
He's a huge fan of Auto Trader, isn't he? Yeah.
Yes, he is. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. One of their biggest fans, I think. There's no, like I say, it's very interesting doing this because there's no right or wrong way to do it, and you sort of start doing something and you just kind of get, it's whether or not you're being pushed along or pulled along with what you're trying to do, and you end up, I think, just doing what you do. Like, you guys, you've got bigger businesses. You've decided to do a different way. Whatever's inside you that's made you want to do that isn't there for me. I don't think it's not. That wasn't something that ever really. I didn't want to build a big behemoth of a building and gin palace and have load of staff and just, I don't know. To be honest, I thought I'm too stupid to do that. I'm just going to concentrate on doing the basics.
Who's the stupid ones though? That's the thing. I listen to you. I mean, I've the last couple of years I've struggled in my mind because when I was younger, I just wanted to just be this high flyer, and I just wanted a big business, and I wanted to employ people, and I wanted a flash car and a big house and all the rest of it. And then I chased after that for a long time. I've done all right. But especially since getting people like yourself on the podcast, when I hear people talking, it does make me think. And I think I could do with a bit of that. I could do with offloading some of this stress. I don't need all this crap in my life anymore. And I'm only 40, and I think to myself, Christ, when I get to 50, am I still going to be like this? Am I still going to be chasing dreams? And should I be slowing down? I could just sell all these cars today, get rid of the garage, get rid of everyone, just buy a house with a big plot of land and just plod on like that, and just do a handful from the dawn. I'm always torn between the two. Should I do that, or should I just go for it and get even bigger? But I never know which way to do it.
Well, there's two ways to be wealthy, and one of them is to acquire more, and the other one is to want less.
Yeah, makes sense.
And I have two rubbish cars that I run myself. I have two 2008 cars that stand me at less than $2,000. Fantastic. Because I look at that. If I go and buy a car, I see, dealers, selling my car. This is my car. Cat warriors need not apply. All of that nonsense, whatever it is. An X5 for $40,000, and I think, great. But that $40,000 in the S&P 500 in the next 5 years will double. Mm-hmm. And that's the opportunity cost of that money. It's like, well, no, because then you're buying your time back. And that's the thing, is that you're trying to buy your time back. I suppose as a kid, I had, a 911 and a few fancy cars when I was in my 20s, because that's kind of what you did. But once I grew up a little bit and went, oh, hang on a minute, this isn't making me happy at all. And I've been able to, I've been able to be at home for my kids when they were little. I'll be able to walk them to school every day. I was here when they come home. I can cook them a dinner. I can, nobody ever looks back on their deathbed and thinks, well, I spent too much time with the children when they were young. That's a
yeah.
So,
I spent too much time with my kids.
Yeah, well,
so I've
now
got
they're
the grey
teenagers.
hair.
Well, tell me about it. Who knows? I think you end up where you end up, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. Scott, what do you think? Do you fancy winding Redgate down and living a life of more chilled out like Jon's got it, and just come and go as you please and not have all these big bills around you, or what? Is that in the plans?
I ask myself that question every day, every single day. And I was around the pool this morning, not at the house, and and I thought to myself, I'm 53, and I thought, I could do another 7 years at this.
Are you only 53? Sorry, go on, continue.
that was predictable. I thought another 7 years, and I thought I'm only 60, and I'm because I'm going to live till I'm 100. That's my target. I just thought I've got a bit more in this just to keep fighting. And yeah, I think like you were saying, Jon, everybody's different, I suppose, and all the different guests we've had on here, and they've all, they tell their journey and the stories and how they've started and so on, and what makes them tick and what they want. And I think it's just, I suppose we're all different. But I mean, I often think of, I'm busy. I've got builders at my house, and I was working out, I can fit like 7 cars on the drive, and I thought, I could rent the sites out, put the money in the bank, and then just doorstep a few cars from home, and it'd be very nice and take it easy. But I think I just get bored. There wouldn't be enough drive in me to do that every day. I'll be bored to death.
You couldn't afford to book 7-star restaurants every weekend, could you, if you'd done that?
If I rented all the sites out and put the money in the bank, yeah, I'd be booking them every day.
Would you?
Yeah, I'd have a nice little lifestyle, yeah. But as I say, I don't know, there'd be no challenge. There'd be no, I don't know.
From what I obviously doing these podcasts and that now, it's amazing with the motor traders how many people are actually diversifying. I mean, obviously, Jon, you're into the stock markets, and you see other people are into gyms, and you know what I mean. There's different aspects. I mean, the competitions page that we had on a few months ago. There's so many people diversifying away from the actual car sales site. I mean, I remember I went off to it was an invitation event with DS when they first launched DS in the UK. They wanted it to be sort of this sort of high end, taking on BMW, Mercedes, and what have you. And never forget the guy, the head guys at DS said when we're talking about the site that we particularly had at the time, and he was saying the best thing you can do is diversify the site. Put something on the site that is like a drive-through or something like that. don't just have car sales businesses on that site, because it will eventually change, and we're seeing it more and more as time's going on now. But yeah, it's interesting.
There's more people leaving the trade, isn't there? Like in different areas, you hear about them all the time. Because really, if you weren't in the trade and you looked at the motor trade and you're going to come in from scratch, you'd probably be a bit mad to think like, oh, you know, I'll get a showroom and I'll buy loads of cars and I'll get my Auto Trader account and we'll get staff and we've got the FCA chasing them and all that. You'd probably look at the business model and think, nah, it's not for me. That I would rather do something else.
People think you're insane. Really, we're nuts. Some of the stuff that we have to put up with, it's crazy.
It's you know, I say I'm institutionalized. I don't know how to do anything else. Unfortunately,
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, I'm the same.
Who was it? There was someone come out this week, wasn't there, about the high net individuals that live around sort of London area are flocking to get out of London and head to Dubai and what have you, purely because of what the economy's like at the moment and things like that. And again, like I said, it comes down to diversifying.
I think my biggest frustration with the motor trade is the economy. It's the economy what you can't control, because you don't know, you know, the government and all this budget and all that, and the tap goes on and off, as we know. So I would say that's the biggest challenge. And second business, the biggest one's probably cars would just go wrong for random reasons. And you buy a car and then you sell it and somebody's had it a month and then it just goes wrong. I think that's a frustration. Usually in businesses, people always say staff's the biggest frustration or your biggest problem. But you can control stuff. But, you know, things like the economy and cars going wrong, you limit how much you can control. You can't really control the economy. You've just got to set out your business and just hope that it comes when it comes. But if you've got big overheads and, you know, and you've got to sell so many cars and the tap goes off, as they say, that's when you hit problems.
I have this thing about, you know, focus on what you can control. I try and, you know, ask myself, is this something I can control or not? Then I can't worry about it. Now, I tell myself that, but when a car goes wrong, it really affects me. I can't sleep. I get, you know, I want to get, you know, I mean, action is the cure to anxiety. So when something goes wrong, I try and jump on it and sort it out straight away. But it's down to me to do it, you know. And so I try and maximize each car as best I can. I mean, when I'm selling stuff on Auto Trader, everything goes on at 102.75. You know, to keep
right, as specific as that, yeah.
Yeah, because, you know, why not? Why give it away? It's a massive hassle for me to buy cars. I spend ages and ages scouring.
Totally get that.
You know,
we start with fair price. We sometimes go 106% of fair when we first bring it into stock, and then when it's been in a little while, that's when we might chop it a little bit. But we always start at fair, because you can't prep a car. You can't. We've said this on other podcasts. If you're doing the job right, you can't prep a car and then launch it in at like 95% or something like that. 'Cause you just cut corners. You're like, you know,
it never ceases to amaze me that you look, when you're looking, you know, to retail check a car, what's that car going to make? And then there's, you know, Billy Bob's car supermarket emporium he's had one in stock 3 days and it's at 97%. You're like,
yeah, it's mad,
you know, and so I've stopped worrying. Again, I just think, well, I don't know. Who knows? There's no such thing as a free lunch. And if customers, I generally don't discount cars if they say, oh, well, you know, I did 1 or 2 last month because I was, you know, it's a bit, you know, and you think, well, you know, so, but generally that's how much they are. If you don't like it, fine. I don't, because honestly, if I don't sell a car for 6 months, I'll be fine. It's, you know, so when people are looking,
that's a good position to be in, isn't it? Yeah, that's good.
Exactly. And then that's very, again, when somebody comes to look at something, I can just say to them, look, if you don't buy it, somebody else will. If you want it, great. If you don't, great. Doesn't matter. They're really genuinely, I mean, obviously I'd much rather they buy it than they don't. Obviously, try and make a living. But you know, I can be quite sort of like, well, you know, but if it is quiet, it does affect me. It does affect my mood. I'm you know, I'm upset. You know, because you're trying to do a good job, aren't you? You're trying to, you know, and sometimes I find these things very helpful, and sometimes I find them, I have to listen to something else for a while because there's everybody's, oh God, you know, oh God, it's the end of the world.
Put the noose around your neck.
Yeah. I can't listen to any more moaning about something. I've got to just concentrate and buy some nice cars and get them gone, you know.
John, I'd be amiss if I didn't bring it back up, because obviously you mentioned a couple of times earlier that you know in your earlier days you had a problem with drinking. I suppose there'd be a lot of dealers on here who've maybe got the same problem, so currently struggling with something similar. Is there anything that you could maybe say to them to motivate them to do something about it? Because obviously you've come out the other side of that by the looks of it, and you've turned your life around by the sounds of it, and got fit and healthy, and I just think using you coming on as a bit of positivity towards that you can do that.
Yeah, I think I went to AA for a little while because I couldn't stop drinking. Even when I remember when I set up, I was still working at Mercedes, and I'd set up the sell a car thing, and I was going to Liverpool right on a Sunday morning. I was working the Sunday. I'd arranged to go and pick up a Jaguar S-Type, I think, from Liverpool. It's a long way. It's right across the other side. Full day on the train, and I sat on Saturday night and drank the majority of a bottle of scotch. And I can remember standing on this platform at like 6 a.m, shaking like a dog. Like, right, why did I do that? Just this madness of just abusing yourself to do things. And eventually you realize it's not the bottle of scotch, it was the first drink. So I tried to stop a few times, couldn't really do it. Went to AA for a little while. For me personally, it helped a bit, but I didn't go for very long, and I just sort of stopped. But it's always, even after 20 odd years, I don't even count it, to be honest. It's been so long now, and I don't, but it's always there. It's always just, well, you could, things not very good, so maybe you could go. I bought a bottle of gin actually for a guy who's retiring, a local mechanic I've used for a long time. He's retiring. I bought a bottle of gin. It's been sat in my office, and last month 2 or 3 times I just went, drink that. It just comes in your head like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Why would I do that? But it never goes away. So that whole thing of one day at a time, but now, I think that's one of the things that's formed the way that my business has gone, is because I had to protect that, because without that, I wouldn't have anything. If I'd have carried on, I'd probably be dead. If I'd have carried on the way I was drinking and carrying on, then, I would have, who knows? So, that's probably gone into other things. And I think if you're that kind of person, you probably end up either end up playing massive amounts of golf, or going to the gym, or swimming, or running, or, doing ultra marathons. And I've done all of that shit as well. So, but honestly, if you can't stop drinking, just try and talk to somebody, find a local AA meeting, maybe, if that will help you. But it doesn't help. Unfortunately, it's a depressant. It takes a long time to come out the other side of it. A few years, really, I think, before you sort of, your body, because I was, drinking from 15, 16 years old up to mid sort of 30s. You don't learn how to process any emotions. Everything's, if you're happy, hey, let's have a drink. If you're sad, it's, let's have a drink. You have to sort of learn how to process your own emotions and stuff. It's not easy.
I used to do that when we had the little unit up at Bedlington when we first started. If I had a good day on like a Saturday and I'd be excited, I'd go home, even though I'd say I was doing like dry January or February or something. And if I had a busy Saturday and so like, I don't know, 8 or 9 cars, I'd be so excited, and I'd go home and get a bottle of champagne and like celebrate. And then if we're blanked, I did exactly the same. I'd go home and do a bottle of wine, champagne, whatever it was, to like not drown my sorrows, but a bit like to help. Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunately it doesn't help, and some people, for a lot of people, they can just have a couple of beers and that's great, and that's most people, but that wasn't me, and it took me a long time to realize that it wasn't 10 beers that was the problem, it was 1. So 1 wasn't an option for me. As soon as I had 1, the old switch went in the back of the head, like, let's go, and I was off to the races, and nowadays I'll wake up after not getting enough sleep and I feel like I've had an anger. I can't imagine drinking in my 50s. I can't imagine what that feels like, to be honest, because, you could just about get away with it when you're a kid. But now I just, if I eat a meal that's a bit too much fat in it, then I feel rough for 2 days. It's pathetic. It's, if I go to bed much past 10 o'clock, I'm like, oh God, I'm going to, so I don't know. I
think we'll all feel your pain there, John.
Yeah.
Well, listen, thanks for sharing that. That was brave of you. Cheers, I appreciate that.
I don't know. It's you've got to find it yourself. I think that's the thing. If you people telling you to stop drinking ain't going to help. You've got to want to do that yourself. You've got to find.
It's got to come from you. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an addiction, isn't it? I suppose just like drugs, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah.
When it gets a hold of you.
Yeah, I had a good crack at that as well for a while. So
yeah, I think we've all been there as well.
I went to give up smoking when I was younger, and it was when my eldest we found out we had my eldest, and I went to give up, and literally, obviously, I wasn't interested in giving up, so I didn't bother. I was like, oh yeah, I've tried it. I've tried to give up. I can't give up. And then one day, I just said to myself, I went, right, 1st of October, that's it, no more. I'll smoke as many as I want up until the 1st of October. And then that was it. 1st of October 2007 was the last time I had a cigarette.
Good.
But I had to have it in my head that was the date and time that I was going to do it.
It's a starting point, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're focused, and then it's just the discipline after that, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Hard though if you've got a habit like that and an addiction.
it is. I was lucky in this fact that I made a decision to stop, and I'd cut and had a few. But once I actually finally said, right, that's it. I've never had a drink since. I was quite lucky that I'm sort of quite bloody minded, and so I was like, right, that's it. I'd met my current wife at the time. She wasn't a big drinker, and I said, look, I'm just going to knock this on the head. And she went, oh, fair enough. I've never really liked drinking, and she's Irish, which is amazing because But she said, well, like I'm not bothered by either. So she doesn't drink, which obviously is a massive help because if there was booze in the house, then who knows? It wouldn't be, But it's a weird thing, and like some people are addicted to gambling. Personally, I just look at that and think, no, whatever. But we're all human. We've all got flaws.
We've all got our vices, and we're all addicted to something.
Yeah, exactly.
I just applaud you for managing to survive that long in the motor trade without having a drink, because I don't think there's many who do.
No, it's maybe not pick the best. Like I said, the catering is in a lot of ways. The catering is very similar because it's very customer focused. It's a lot of long hours. It's hard work, and it's full of lunatics. So it's quite good fun. But I don't know about you, but I find the motor trade a lot less fun than it used to be.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
It's just not the same, is it? Not the same at all. Listen, John, I really appreciate your time for coming on. I really appreciate you opening up like that. I think it's important we'll put stuff like that out there, because I know there is people suffering. I implore anyone watching this podcast to not suffer in silence. I know you mentioned it earlier, John, about the charity Ben, which is the motor trade specific charity. I think if you are struggling, please reach out to them. But yeah, thanks for that, John. Really appreciate you coming on.
And if anybody watching does want to message me, or you can find me. It's Murfin Motor Company. If anybody wants to have a chat about that, then feel free, please. I have not got the answers, but I've got an ear just to listen if somebody wants to talk about something.
Fantastic. That's great.
Can I just add to that as well? We tried to contact Ben. I emailed them 2 or 3 times, and I rang them in the finish, and I thought it would be good to get somebody in from Ben onto the podcast as a guest and tell us about the charity and what they do.
Funny you should say that, Scott, because I've been speaking to Gareth Angove at the IMDA. Yeah. And he's actually, I need to message him back. Actually, I've left his message in my phone. I just haven't got round to it. But he's asking that very thing, if they can get someone on from Ben on the podcast.
Oh, that'd be good.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I emailed them, rang them, but they never got back. But it must be a big organisation or something. Yeah. But if we can get somebody on, that would be good.
But yeah. Everyone else, thanks for tuning in with us. Make sure that you do like and subscribe down below to make sure you never miss an episode. And we'll see you on the next one. Thanks, John. Appreciate your time, mate.
John.
Thanks.
Nice to meet you.
Cheers, everyone.
Nice to meet you all. Cheers.
Bye.